I'm going to ungroup it because it's grouped at the moment. We're going to have to texture that piece up separately. But I want to reuse the textures for this piece that we've already made. We just painted up in Substance Painter. We should be able to do that if I was careful when I do my UV mapping. We'll find out in a minute when I bring it into Unreal. But before we do that, let's texture up this this decorative column, I guess you'd call it. And to do that, I'm going to assign it unique textures before I bring it into Substance Painter. So let's create a standard texture. We'll call it column. It's not really a column, but just for the sake of argument, we'll call it a column. COL. I'll call it column SML for small, and then dark wood. And we'll make that, let's go for something different. Let's make it a deep yellow. And we'll drag one more in. We'll call this one column small, or SML, gold paint. Because again, I'm going to reuse the gold paint we've already used in different parts of the level for different assets that we've got in the building, and just to keep that consistency in the look of everything. Again, let's change the color of that. We'll make that one should have been yellow, shouldn't it? We'll make that a green. Okay. Now I'm going to select the pieces that I want to be the chocolate, which is... Now I actually have this centerpiece separate. We could have made that a separate colored, a separate texture, a different colored texture, but I'm just trying to work out what I want to do here for the design of this column. Well, I know I want the end pieces here to be chocolate brown, so I'm going to assign that. I know I want the... I'm going to ungroup this. Actually, it's a group as well, so we'll get rid of that. I know I want this end piece here to be the gold paint. Just give Max a minute. There we go. So I'll assign that gold paint color to that. We're going to decide what we want to do with the rest of these. We want them to be the dark chocolate brown or the cherry wood. I think maybe the cherry wood for this end piece. Again, that'll make it better match what we're going on in here with these pieces here. We've got the cherry wood base and then the gold paint top. I think we should keep it consistent throughout the building like that. So, and we've done the same thing for the bottom of the step. It has the same sort of decorative pieces on the bottom of the step. So let's do that. That'll just mean that I'll need to bring in one more texture. What are we calling this? Column small. We call it column small cherry. And let's make that one, let's make it a pinky purple. Alright, so I want that and the base to be that column cherry color. This one can be the dark chocolate and this one can be the dark chocolate. Must remember to get that piece there as well. Okay. Now this will be attached to this piece a bit, when we bring it into Unreal, but just to do the texturing on this piece, I'm going to bring that in separately just to texture it up. So I'm going to make sure I attach all these pieces together. Okay. Let's call this panel column. Panel SML, a small column. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to make sure that the pivot is in the middle. And we'll do a reset on the X-form. Collapse our stack. Let's export it so we can bring it into Substance Painter. Okay, well, let me just close that Unreal down there and minimize it in the background so it doesn't get in the way. Let's save this project in case we do want to make any changes at some stage. Like if I do want to bring up the polish on that dark wood. Let's create a new project and select that column. Okay, now I thought we may have some problems here. Now it's the normals. You can see on some of these pieces the normals are inverted. So I have to swap the normals on the, looks like all of the bottom part. You don't see it in Max, which is a really interesting thing. If you look at the model here, it doesn't look inverted at all, but it is. Well, according to Substance Painter, it is anyway, so let's make sure we have all of that selected. And we're just going to flip the normals on it. We'll re-export our column piece one more time. And re-import the project again. So project configuration, let's swap it out for the one that we just fixed. There we go. All right. Now, this is interesting. Let's jump into the materials here. I'm going to grab my smart material for that cherry wood. Okay. Get rid of the bottom one we're not using. Let's pull in that chocolate wood then for the rest of the column, which is, I think it's this one. Get rid of the top layer. Let's just make some adjustments here before we move on, because I really don't like the pattern that's producing. So let's start by changing our UV tiling. I'm also going to pull back on that height value again, it's way too high. I'm going to pull up a bit on the varnish, so the roughness value will control how shiny the thing looks. We could go nuts here, like we could use, let's put the gold paint in on the bottom. It's this one here. We could go really decorative and use that gold paint on other parts of the column, like we could use it on that centerpiece through there to break up the chocolate wood a little bit more. I'm reluctant to do it simply because we're going to, those panel pieces that go along the wall shouldn't be that decorative, if you know what I mean. They should be relatively plain. I'm not saying you couldn't do it. I'm not saying it'd be wrong if you did do it, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to keep the gold at the end here instead of placing it on any other part of the model. I'm going to keep the column looking quite plain. Really, that end piece should be the chocolate color as well, I think. I'll keep it like that, and if and when we bring it in and start setting it up in Unreal it looks odd, then we'll change it out. I guess we should do a little bit of distressing on it though, so let's go back to the dark wood. Again, we're going to be reusing this column over and over again, so we're not going to have to texture up another one. We've only got to worry about one. Let's pull in that beach honey here underneath. Oh, don't do that. If you pull a texture on top of the other one, it replaces it. I don't want it to do that. There we go. I'm going to turn off the height value for that honey wood though. And I'm going to add a white mask to the dark chocolate wood. And again, we're just going to go back to our brushes and just distress it a little bit. Again, trying to avoid doing anything too noticeable, because we're going to be repeating it, reusing the column and texture, that is. So again, I've got to go back in and turn the height information off on the dark chocolate wood, so to stop that bubbling sort of happening. There we go. Once we've distressed it a little bit, I'm going to come back in again and change the underlying yellow color to make it a little duller, so it doesn't stand out quite so much. Now, so I'm going to have to paint that out. I'm not going to paint it out completely. I'm going to leave a little bit of that yellow in there. Just go back to black and paint a little bit of damage on the edges here. Now I'm going to change that underlying yellow coloured wood to make it a little darker. So it doesn't stand out quite so much. A little bit more subtle. I'm going to duplicate this top dark wood colour. Clear out the mask of the copy we just made. Grab a really large brush. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my thoughts together here as to what I want to do. Let's see. Let's try duplicating this honeywood again. It's a bit better. I just wanted to get like a patina going on that was made it look like the varnish had been worn out and removed in parts of that chocolate brown. I don't want to go too nuts here, otherwise it can start to look a bit weird, but I'm just going to knock the column here and there. I do also want to make sure I turn off the height value, or make sure that the height is turned off there, and I also want to turn it off on this top layer. Now we can adjust the color of that underlying light color. We might bring it down a little bit, make it just a little bit darker. Not quite that dark. Yeah, there's still something there I don't like the look of. It's some height value. I've just got to work out where that is. Might be the normal map, I think. Yeah, there we go. It was just a normal map from the duplicate we made on top. I might pull that color up a little bit more and just pull back a little bit here on the blending. Hopefully you guys can see in the stream what that's doing. It's just giving it like a mottled look to the wood. If I turn that off, you'll probably be able to see what I mean. Just making the wood look a bit more aged. Okay, let's do a similar thing to this end piece, to the cherry wood, sorry, the top one. So I'm just going to do, actually, where are we? Yeah, I'm just going to duplicate the cherry wood. I'm going to clear the mask. Let's just change the color to be a little bit darker. I think that's better. I just wanted a richer coloured cherry wood for that end piece. Slightly darker to make it better blend in with the dark of the chocolate wood. Alright, let's save our project. What are we calling this? Column small. Panel. No, column small. That'll do. Let's export our textures. Now the gold paint, I'm going to knock that back to a 512 by 512 texture. The small cherry wood, which is that bit on the end there, I'm going to knock that back to a 1K texture. And we'll keep a 2K texture for the majority of the column piece. No point going higher than we need. Okay, let's save the project one more time in case we want to make any changes. We're going to jump back into Max. Now we can attach that column to the rest of the panel. And this one's called Skylight Panel 2 and 3 because we're going to be reusing the same panel again in Unreal. So let's export that. Back into Unreal and let's import that new panel. Where are we? Just going to check the model here to make sure it is using the correct textures that we've already done, and it is, so that's good. We've just got to work on our column now, so let's import our textures. Okay, what have we got here? This is the column small cherry, Yep. Okay. So color metallic, normal, and roughness. Apply and then save. And then we want the column small darkwood. And we'll apply it and then we'll save it. And the last one, which will be the gold paint. Color, metallic, and normal, and roughness. Give the engine a minute to compile that, and save it. We're nearly there. Let's just double check that model piece now to make sure that it has assigned those textures, and it has. Now we did change the varnish on those columns. We made them much more varnished than these wooden pieces. They may be a bit too varnished, but again, we'll wait till we get the piece inside the level and see. But you see we've reused the same texture we had on the other column piece for this new piece. Alright. Let's jump back into Max. Actually, before we do that, let's make sure we save because I turn autosave off and, pardon me, I don't want to lose the work we've done. let's jump into max. Let's exit isolation. We're going to be reusing that piece here for that second piece, but we just need to work on the end piece now. And I think what I'll do here is we'll isolate again. We'll ungroup this. And now this column piece again, I wanted to reuse this one here. We can either copy that geometry across, or I can retexture this one to be the same as that, which will probably be the easiest way to go. So let's jump into our material editor here. These ones we want to be the dark wood. This one is also the dark wood. Same with this one. This one we have to ungroup it. We are probably going to have the same problem with the inversion of the normal, so I must remember to change that. So let's just make sure we choose the cherry wood here. It's the gold paint. It's the cherry wood. That's the gold paint, so let's assign that one. Okay, now let's make sure we do our inversion here and our normals. So before we do that, I think we have to do an attach, so let's do that. Collapse the stack. I'm going to convert it to an edit poly. Now let's attach these pieces together. Make sure I select everything. And we're going to flip the normals actually look the correct way around to me, but we'll find out when we bring it into Unreal whether it is or not. Okay. Now we just need to attach everything together, so let's do that. All right. And this is Starlyte panel 3. Now, if we did it correctly, we should only have to import it and all of the textures should be assigned properly. But we'll find out in just a minute. Starlyte panel 3. And they are, except we do have that problem with our normals being inverted. Going to pull in here and have a look at what's going on. Yeah. Remember I said it looked like it wasn't inverted to begin with, and it's not. It's just, but it is inverted now, so that's okay. Easy to fix.